You've probably heard by now, but the ATF just took a huge L, and I am pretty happy about it. Now, you've probably heard about it already. It's Vanderstock versus Garland, or the frame receiver debacle going on. But I'm going to break down what this actually means for you and I, just American citizens wanting to protect our Second Amendment rights. Let's take a look. Now, the Fifth Circuit denies government attempt to reinstate ATF's redefinitions of frame, receiver, and firearm. Now, a little fun fact, the ATF is not actually allowed to make any laws. You may already knew that, but what they actually do instead is they redefine old laws and, make new rulings out of them. Sound familiar? I mean, you may have heard it with the pistol brace ruling, or this new absolutely ridiculous thing that I just heard the other day, magazine limits for self-defense. Now, they have got to be absolutely kidding me with that one. But let's just read what happened here. Now, the rule expanded the ATF's authority over partially complete, disassembled, or non-functional frames and receivers that may be readily converted into frames and receivers when Congress limited the ATF's authority to only frames or receivers in the GCA. Second, another provision of the rule unlawfully treats a component parts of weapons, a weapons parts kit, as an equivalent of a firearm under the GCA. Now, this one right here pretty much makes me absolutely happy. So, they kind of got their hands slapped and they're like, hey, that doesn't apply here anymore. Not happening. But this is actually really good news for the American people. Now, hit that subscribe button. I will have more information for you later if it does happen to pop up. But this wording, if they stick to this and they stick to their guns on this one, we may get an overturn with the pistol brace ruling, because if they stick with the same mind frame, they change the definition of these. It's kind of the same when they change the definition of those. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of leeway on that in the future, as well as the magazines and the crazy limits they're putting on those. Now, that one absolutely drove me insane when I heard that, because as a female, and I'm only roughly 5'5" on my best day, probably back in high school at my peak. Now, that puts me at a huge disadvantage if I'm going to be up against a biological male at, say, 6'3". I'm just not likely to win in a fist fight or overpower someone like that. I'm just not going to be able to. Carrying and exercising my Second Amendment right allows me to kind of put myself on a playing field of someone who may wish to do me harm. And that's one thing that I absolutely love about the Second Amendment and love about carrying a firearm. But when you're telling individuals, when you're changing the definition of a law and making a new rule, you're taking away my right to defend myself on a level playing field. Now, think about it. We already know it's pretty clear that criminals, they don't exactly follow the rules. We've seen that in many states that have tons of gun control. They just don't really listen to it. You're going to tell me that I am limited to roughly 10 rounds. I think that's what one of their things were. But yet, criminals can have fully automatic 50-round drums or whatever else. And that's acceptable because, they're criminals, so they're not going to break the law. But then you're going to limit law-abiding citizens to carrying 10 rounds to defend themselves. Yeah, I don't really like that logic. Now, I'm not going to dive into should we or should we not be able to have fully automatic weapons because, yeah. I just want to go ahead and point out that this is something that could be a huge win for us. It already is a huge win here, and they pretty much kick the ATF in the mouth here, and hopefully it puts them on a leash, and maybe we'll be able to go back and revise a few things since they clearly overreached here. Maybe we'll start seeing their overreach just kind of get taken away. Anyways, you guys let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button, and please have a great day.